Yo, what is up, guys? We're back with another reaction video. We're going to be doing a video by The Joy Report. I think that's her name. Yep. On Laura Loomer after, I guess, she made some racist comments about Jasmine Crockett, who was a representative. So usually I like to do a little bit of background. So I guess Laura Loomer is a far-right activist. So, and I really shouldn't be too surprised about the kinds of things that she's saying. I'm not gonna lie, just looking at her, I cannot believe this chick is only 32. She looks way older than that. Like, seriously, this face is troubling, bro. But anyway, we're gonna get see why she said what she said, what's going on with that, and yeah, let's check this out.
It hurts my heart that we have ghetto Black B words who hate America serving in Congress. So this is acceptable?
I know that some may think that I am, younger than I am. But just so y'all know, I am 12 years older than Laura Loomer.
You're telling me that this woman called this woman ghetto? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This woman right here could take some major pointers from this woman right here.
And I think the first thing that that I have to talk about is you obviously have the dog whistle of referring to a Black woman as ghetto. That's a tried and true dog whistling tactic, and it's even more egregious when you consider like just how many qualifications and achievements that Jasmine Crockett has, right? Like even if we would just like to look at kind of her credentials a little bit, I think she graduated from a law school in Houston. She was previously a Texas state representative. She's currently running for like the House for the Texas district. Like, she graduated in business administration. So it's like, bro, for someone like that, that's the only word you can use to describe them is crazy. And also, this is not to say that like if you're not educated or if you don't have like a bachelor's, you deserve to be called like that word to begin with, which I definitely would not advocate for that. But it's the reason why I bring it up is because you look at what a lot of these right-wing people say, and they'll basically try to say, oh, why don't Black people do this thing and Black people don't do this thing, and they're all just breaking the law and whatever. So it's like it just goes to show, even when you do the right quote unquote right thing and you go through the quote unquote right paths, that it's never really about that in the first place. So
make it make sense.
MAGA country, back at it again with some racially charged statements. This is 32-year-old Laura Loomer. She is a MAGA reporter known for her controversial and outspoken statements. Let's read. So this is a tweet that she made a couple days ago. It hurts my heart that we have ghetto Black bitches who hate America serving in Congress. I'm sorry, I just holy hatred.
Laura Loomer is comfortable saying these things about Jasmine Crockett because there are no consequences for being anti-Black. And this is one of the most trusted advisors of the President of the United States right now, openly calling a sitting Congresswoman a ghetto Black. But then when she was called out by people like Jamel Hill, she doubles down. Insanity. Jasmine Crockett was to say something like this about Laura Loomer, who's a Jewish woman, the ADL would put out about 15 damn statements calling this anti-Semitic. Congress would pass the resolution condemning her and anti-Semitic hate. We don't take any blackness serious.
Laura Loomer, you big bobblehead, don't you ever talk about my old lady like that. I know you ain't talking about nobody ghetto when you walk around looking like Jigsaw. You should not ever.
Yo, that's crazy, bro. Now, I'm not gonna lie, like, bro, listen, I'm not a mean-spirited person, but like, no, that does really look uncomfortable, bro. At 32 is such a young age too. But okay, let's be serious again. What the other guy said earlier, I think, is made a very good point. The guy before this guy, about how this is a lady that is in close contact with the President of the United States of America. So that just tells you obviously where his head is at in regards to race relations, but we already know that. if a lady like that high up, if this is how she acts, what does it say about the state of our country and the state of how people feel about black people, that a lady that has this much success and feels this comfortable doing this, like he said, knowing that there's nothing of consequences going to happen to her for speaking this type of rhetoric. Everything this country needs to do a better job of not allowing this type of behavior, even beyond just the immorality of being racist. It's just unprofessional. Like, you're speaking about politics, you're speaking about law and order, and this is how you want to go about getting your point across is through slander and name calling. Like, we're not in middle school. Like, you guys are supposed to be the adults leading the country, and this is how you want to conduct business. It's just childish.
Fix your BBL filled lips to ever speak about Jasmine Crockett ever again a day in your life. You do not have the education. You got a head full of helium. You don't have half of the educational credentials that Jasmine Crockett got. You got a head full of helium, a heart full of hate, and a face full of BBL meat. I don't ever want to hear you talking about nobody ever again. You look like you snuck into a human body. You look like a lotus or something like that. Just
Nah, the purge mask is crazy, bro. Oh, nah. People are so creative, bro. It's genuinely funny. That's the thing I love the most about black people, man. Like, niggas will just come up with the most creative ways to insult you. This is why I've never been good at roasting people, because I don't have I'm not creative enough to come up with, because people will just come up with shit out of left field too. Although I won't lie, this seemed like what's it called? Like low hanging fruit, just given what her face looks like, but still that shit's still not funny though, I won't lie.
something out of Gears of War that just snuck up from the deep depths of hell. Like, you come out every 17 years or something. You big caravan head cicada. I don't ever want you to talk about Jasmine Crockett ever again.
Welcome to the Laura Loomer Hour, a podcast brought to you by me, Laura Loomer, sponsored by no one yet, but the phone lines are open. Everyone is so upset, thinking that I was being mean to Jasmine Crockett. I was being mean to her, but not for the reason that you might think. It wasn't because I'm racist, though probably I am.
When a black congresswoman calls out racism and the response is to call her a ghetto black bee, that's not debate, that's racist silencing. Laura Loomer has once again leaned on racism as her weapon of choice. After Representative Jasmine Crockett criticized a House resolution honoring Charlie Kirk, Loomer launched a tirade calling her a ghetto black bee and mocking her with the nickname DEI Shaniqua. These aren't just insults, they're racialized slurs loaded with stereotypes meant to degrade black women, painting them as unrefined, dangerous, and undeserving of power.
Laura Loomer having more smoke for Jasmine Crockett than she does Spirit Halloween is funny as fuck. Bitch, they are selling your face and calling this shit the Loomer Goon. On Twitter, mad at black women because you asked your surgeon for the Kim K special and they fucked your shit up. Then I not fault. Calling people ghetto as if your culture didn't originate from hot dog water. Let's stop. And I was a little scared to make this video out of fear that you might be standing at the edge of my bed at 3 a.m. But you know what? YOLO. You felt ugly and insecure, and the only space that you were ever welcomed in was one that only liked you because of the color of your skin. People that cannot find friends, people that cannot find spaces where they can fit in life will do anything for any type of attention that makes them feel better. Before Laura attained her many surgeries, she was your average, regular, schmegular, white girl. Not really anything to offer in the looks department, not really anything to offer in the brain department, not really anything to offer in the fashion sense. The only thing that she seen that may have been of any value was the color of her skin. So she pandered to hate groups out of number one, jealousy, and to make herself feel better. Don't be like Laura, because it hasn't gotten her far.
This is why you don't create a safe space for racists.
Yeah, I mean, they said it well there. Like, the language that she used, she's like I said earlier, she's obviously playing the stereotypes of black women about how they're viewed. You look at how what, like, all this lady offers is hate. Like, especially because she did this because Jasmine Crockett was talking about Charlie Kirk and how she didn't feel like he deserved to be honored. And if she really had any kind of legitimate pushback to that, she could easily just stated it. And there's a ton of angles you can even use here. You could be like, oh, it's about free speech or whatever other nonsense that these people have been trying to paint the whole Kirk thing over to whitewash his legacy. But she couldn't even grift and do that. She had to just go straight to racism. Like, that's crazy. You didn't even try to pretend like you're intellectual, get some type of point of view. You just went straight to racist dog whistling. So that should tell you something about just how lack of thought, how not smart this lady is.
So Laura Loomer decided to go on the internet to call Jasmine Crockett a ghetto black B-word. So if you don't know who Laura Loomer is, it's this bitch. Because Laura was upset that Jasmine Crockett called it what it is. He said watching her colleagues side with a bigot and a racist was disheartening. So Laura Loomer used her jigsaw face to go ahead and call Jasmine Crockett outside her name. And then she tried to use a misrepresentation of AAVE, using words like funna and Mind you, she was using it wrong. She obviously doesn't understand the vernacular enough to even use it. She was just using it to be disrespectful. But this is what I'm talking about. These racist people have no space in our society. All they do is block progress and talk about bathrooms. And for all 95 Democrats that signed to get Charlie Kirk a holiday, are your Republican buddies going to sign to make sure that the Epstein list is released? Or were you just used as a pawn for their game? And where are the 95 Democrats who signed to get Charlie Kirk his holiday? Are you going to talk about how this type of behavior is inappropriate? No. Instead, you're going to side with the racist. Got it.
Hello, guys, and welcome to the Joy Report, where we get an outsider's view with an insider's clarity. When Laura Loomer decided to run her mouth on social media and come for Jasmine Crockett, she picked the wrong day and the wrong audience. She thought she could throw around words like ghetto and the B word, and it would land the way she imagined. But the internet handed her a reality check with interest. What she got instead was a masterclass in instant karma delivered by black folks who do not play about their own. Before we proceed, all credit goes to the creators of these videos. Let's watch a few more clips, and I'll be back with more commentary.
Well. So you mean to tell me that face of 1,000 cuts, the girl who's been underneath the knife more times than a sheet cake at a quinceañera, you know, the bitch who is nuts, honey, Miss Laura Loomer?
No, they're actually just roasting the shit out of this lady, bro. I'll be honest. I'm sorry, I'm not talking much in this reaction. Just people are saying everything I want to say so much better than me, with so much more creative, colorful language than I could possibly dream of. See, this is why you got to make sure if you're gonna be a bad person, you need the benefit of the halo effect, man. And for those of you that don't know what the halo effect is essentially just meaning that people will perceive what you do as, like, perceive what you do in a better light, specifically just because you're attractive. And it's defined as a cognitive bias where a positive impression of a person, company, or product it leads to positive assumptions in other unrelated areas. So, listen, Laura Loomer, with all due respect, you are not good looking enough. You do not have this much halo effect to be racist like this, bro. Like, it is what it is, bro. It's the fact of the matter, bro. But anyway, let's get back to what these people got to say, because they're actually mad funny.
The one that's in love with her groomer is over there on the streets of Twitter today with her rage bait, trying to throw shade Jasmine Crockett's way. Yes, she's saying that Jasmine's ghetto. Is that right, Miss Loomer? Are you sure about that? Out here looking like Marilyn Manson's beautiful people, honey, and you trying to call somebody ghetto? I'm gonna let you in on a little bit of information, face of 1,000 cuts. Down here on the Gulf Coast of Mexico, anytime we see a white girl with this shade of red in her hair, she usually lives in the trailer park. That's right. Down here, we call this trailer park wine, honey. And it don't make it look fine, I just have to say. And this look is as ghetto as it can be. What's the matter, baby? Was it a baby? Or was you just out of your Spanx that day? You should have put on some bronzer, too. Your groomer couldn't loan you his orange hue. Maybe that would have contrasted with this dress. I can tell you all day about when a white woman is ghetto, but I ain't got to say a word. All you got to do is look at her.
It all started with Loomer trying to demean Jasmine, thinking those tired, racially loaded insults would somehow stick. She underestimated two things: Jasmine's composure and the internet's memory. Jasmine didn't even have to get nasty. She simply pointed out that Loomer is 12 years younger than her, and yet the comparison alone had people cackling across timelines. The message was clear.
And also, it is kind of crazy too how, like, white women don't get the same, like, label of being ghetto, like, no matter what their presentation is. Like, I don't know this lady's history that well. Well, people have pretty much made it a point to talk about her numerous surgeries and her pretty much having to, like, pander to, you know, far right racist groups for work and all that. And I say that to say, despite that, she's just kind of looked at as herself. And oh my gosh, she grew up in Massachusetts. That's crazy. Like, growing up in one of the but yeah, no. So, like, white women don't really get the whole shtick of, oh, like, you know, you're ghetto or you're this or you're that. And yet you look at someone like this who spews hatred like this, has no real intelligent points to make, has had numerous surgeries done. Yeah, these are all things that people, like, stereotype and associate with quote unquote ghetto black women. And this is not my words. These are not what I think. These are just what the type of people that she panders to would say. But yet she's pretty much, like, checked a lot of these boxes. So I don't know, maybe she's, like, projecting or something. And that's why she's you know, trying, that's why she crashed out like this. Who knows with these people.
without needing to spell it out. And speaking of surgery, the internet wasted no time sucking in. People told Laura that if she was going to be mad, she should probably start with her surgeon, not Jasmine. Folks were side by side posting pictures, laughing at how Loomer tried to degrade someone who looks younger and unbothered without needing a filter. But beyond the jokes, the deeper sentiment rang loud. There is nothing that rattles an insecure white supremacist more than a black woman who knows her worth. And Jasmine didn't fold, flinch, or fawn. She responded with elegance and a little shade that felt like silk over a sword.
See, that's because I mean, with the whole Jasmine Crockett response thing, it's definitely twofold. Because one, you already know, she's as a black woman, how she responds. People are going to, if she like does anything, if she tries to respond with like equal levels of force, she already knows people are going to exaggerate it, drag it, and then make it sound like she's just being a bully or something. So she's smart enough to not play into that game. One, and then two, like I said, this lady is a representative. She's running for state rep, and she's been in politics for a long time. So she's way, way higher up in the echelon than Laura Loomer is. So it's like one of those things where it's like, you're not even on my level. You're not on my level to warrant some type of like extreme anger or anything like that. Like, you're not relevant to anything. So I think it's twofold. So yeah, I think it's she's aware of the perception, and it's just a matter of the fact that, frankly, Loomer is not on her level in terms of achievement or anything like that. So she doesn't really deserve a dedicated, prolonged response.
That's what enraged Loomer and her supporters. They expected black women to shrink and not shine back. What they keep forgetting is black women didn't just learn how to clap back. Black women invented the art of standing tall while being underestimated. And in this moment, the internet showed just how tired it is of watching anti-black rhetoric get brushed off like it's harmless. When someone tries to insult black women with words like ghetto, what they're really doing is reaching for the oldest tool in the racist playbook, demeaning what they secretly envy. This is what makes the backlash so satisfying. Black talk and even folks outside the community were united in their response. Jasmine wasn't the one embarrassed. Laura was. The more Loomer talked, the more she exposed her obsession with projecting her insecurities onto someone else. And each time she opened her mouth, the internet reminded her that hate doesn't hide desperation. People pointed out how quickly white supremacists are to police the beauty, tone, and confidence of black women, but stay silent when their own collapse into manufactured insecurity. They'll call a black woman ghetto for breathing too confidently, yet spend thousands trying to look like the very features they mock. That contradiction was laid bare in every response, tearing Loomer's comments apart. And the funniest part, Jasmine didn't even have to drag her. Just by standing in her own skin, she exposed Laura's envy for what it was. That's the part that bugs them the most. Confidence that's natural, not purchased. Self-love that doesn't come with a receipt.
I know that some may think that I am, younger than I am. But just so y'all know, I am 12 years older than Laura Loomer.
People are also quick to point out the hypocrisy of Loomer attempting to belittle someone who is winning in every department she's insecure about: youth, presence, intellect, and authenticity. The contrast spoke for itself, and the clapback wasn't just about Jasmine. It was about the long history of black women being insulted, underestimated, and pushed to respond politely. Not this time. The response was swift, loud, and unbothered by word fragility. Fox said if Laura wants to throw insults, she better learn how to take one, because the timeline was not handing out sympathy for someone who started the fire and got burned fast. This moment also highlighted something bigger: the exhaustion black people feel watching mediocre individuals punch down while pretending they're superior. Calling someone ghetto doesn't disguise jealousy. Calling a black woman the B word doesn't make the insult sharp. It just exposes the lack of vocabulary and original thought. The internet saw straight through it, and the dragging was communal. What really stuck with people was how Jasmine's simple, measured response held more weight than any insult. She didn't have to get loud. She let the facts speak. She's unbothered, and that silent confidence made Loomer look even more pressed. When a black woman doesn't absorb the insult, it leaves the insulter standing alone with their own ugliness. At the end of the day,
Yeah, no, she was definitely speaking facts there, right? Like, when people insult you, it's coming from a place of insecurity. It's coming from something that they feel like they lack, that they're upset that you have. So by not giving their words power, by not reacting the way they want, they don't get the satisfaction of dragging you down to their level. So that's just not even with this situation. That's just in life in general, right? Like, and you're not going to be able to do that until you're secure in yourself, and you know who you are, and you know what you bring, and you know your strengths and your weaknesses. It's obvious that this Laura Loomer lady, she doesn't have that self-belief in herself. Whether it's through the things you can see physically, right, or through how she conducts herself, or through the groups that she associates herself with. So, that just speaks to why that is so important.
Nobody saw Jasmine as the one in the fight. Laura threw the first shot and somehow ended up dragging herself. The internet just grabbed popcorn and added commentary. Every attempt to degrade Jasmine turned into a bigger spotlight on how insecurity makes people delusional. And that's why the clapback hit so hard, because it wasn't about defending Jasmine's beauty or character. It was about exposing the desperation behind insults rooted in racism and self-hate. People were done letting that slide. They reminded Laura that black women don't exist for her projections, and if she wants to start a roast session, she better come prepared with more than Botox and bitterness. In the end, Jasmine didn't just walk away untouched. She walked away shining. Meanwhile, Laura was left wrestling with the truth the internet handed her. If the goal was to embarrass someone, mission accomplished, but she was the only one humiliated in the process.
So I normally try to stay out of white women's business, but I do feel like Robin here isn't going to get an honest answer to her question. So let's talk about it. My experience with white women is that 9 times out of 10, they are going to choose a passive-aggressive approach to confrontation. And if they're not choosing a passive-aggressive approach to confrontation, they're going to also choose their race. Exhibit A, the election of 2016. Exhibit B, the election of 2024. Then, when their rights are infringed upon, they're going to play victim.
See, my thoughts on that is I can definitely see that. I think it'd probably be just one of those things where, you know, if you're white and a woman, you probably exist in like this weird space where your skin tone is obviously elevated in this country, but obviously your gender is not. So you're kind of just constantly living in this contradiction where sometimes you're going to be the one benefiting from some type of privilege or some type of stereotype, and then other times you're going to be the one being discriminated against. And I think specifically when it comes to these types of interactions, right? Like white women are stereotyped as being like softer or more feminine or whatever the fuck. Not saying that's true or not true. I don't really care. The point being that so they can't, even if they wanted to be ultra aggressive and be insulting, like that would go against the stereotype that people have projected onto them. So they know that if they do go the passive aggressive route, they not only still get to protect that image that they have, at least again for the ones that do this, they not only get to protect that image that they have, they also get to hide their stones. So if you react in a way that seems aggressive, then all the moral panic just falls out on you. So they look better by comparison anyway. So they're actually killing like 3 birds with 1 stone there.
Doubling down on it, right? And it's very predictable at this point in time.
So what do you think? Do you think Laura was projecting? And what do you think about Jasmine's comments? Let me know your thoughts down.
Oh, you know, she was definitely projecting. Definitely projecting. I thought like the lady said, Jasmine handled it properly. She didn't give too much attention to it. She gave enough of, like, even that one line when she says she's 12 years old, she gave enough to let her know that you're gonna get roasted and I don't fuck with what you said, while still keeping her wits about her. So she still has the moral high ground in this interaction. And yeah, no, the internet definitely did their thing, and Laura got smacked up the head. But yeah, see, that's why you gotta watch what you say. And if you ain't got the halo effect, bro, you can't just be out here spewing nonsense, because people will remind you what you look like. It is what it is. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And most importantly of all, remember to have a good day.